So how my fellow sardines tonight?
Awesome.
This is what you call forced oneness.
Right.
Yeah, whether we like it or not.
Love it.
I know. So this is a course of love. I'm Earl, and I need to remember the truth desperately. Anybody else?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Okay, all right. So let's take a few minutes to kind of get centered. I got a little review I want to cover, and I'd like to kind of tonight do it as a meditation. So we've been out in the world doing our thing, and so let's see if we can just take a minute to hear the truth and focus in on it, so that we can just bring our loving energy into this moment. So I'd like to invite you to close your eyes, kind of shut out the outer for a minute. Take a deep breath. What is one of the hardest things to believe? That no effort is called for. How can you receive your heart's desires? By the acceptance of the truth that you're studying. How can you receive your heart's desires? By the acceptance of these words. Do you know that happiness does not require you to define it or to put a name on happiness before it can be yours? Do you know that the first thing you need to do to have happiness is to stop trying to put a name on it? Are you not ready to listen to a new voice? Are you not ready to listen to a new voice? Are you not ready to listen to a new voice? Are you not ready to listen to a new voice? Do you know that this course of love is nothing but a trigger? These words are meant to trigger you to know that the time is now. And the time has come. The time is now, and the time has come, and the time is now, and the time has come, and the time is now, and the time has come, and the time is now, and the time has come, and the time is now. Can you let the worries of today leave your mind? Can you let the worries of the day leave your mind? Can you let the worries of today leave your mind? Can you let the disappointments of yesterday go and be no more? Be no more. Be no more. Be no more. Can you let the planning for the future cease? Can you let the planning for the future cease? Can you be still and know yourself? Can you be still and know yourself? Take a breath. Do you know that the next step is the step of living from love? Do you know that the next step is the step of living from love? Do you know that there is no need to sit around and wait for the time of celebration to come? There is no need to just sit around and wait for the time of celebration to come. Greet this day with no worrying, with no focusing on disappointment or planning. This is the invitation to meet yourself and to find yourself. Find yourself within this day. Find yourself, not somebody else's self, not who somebody else say you should be, not the programming that you gotten since you were born. Can you find yourself today? This day. It does not require new plans. It does not require new plans. It does not ask you to make any decisions. The invitation does not ask you to do anything new. This is an invitation from love to love. This is an invitation from love to love. This is an invitation from love to love. Do you know that you only need to be open? You only need to be open and allow, open and allow giving and receiving as one to take place. Do you realize that the invitation only asks that you be unoccupied with the old so that the new may arrive? Be unoccupied with the old so that the new may arrive. That's the invitation to happiness. Do you know that it only asks that you listen to your heart? Listen to your heart and let yourself be heard. Listen to your heart and let yourself be heard. Listen to your heart and let yourself be heard. Listen to your heart and let yourself be heard. There is no mold, no form, no stock answer. Do you know that you are a thought of God? You are an idea. An idea is linked with the source. You are an idea, so you are one with your source. You are one with your source. You are an idea. You are an idea. There is nothing you cannot do. So be unoccupied with the old so that the new may arrive. Be unoccupied with the old so that the new may arrive. Be unoccupied with the old so that the new may arrive. Listen to your heart and let yourself be heard. Listen to your heart and let yourself be heard. Listen to your heart and let yourself be heard. Listen to your heart and let yourself be heard. Listen to your heart and let yourself be heard. Listen to your heart and let yourself be heard. I am never upset for the reason I think. I am never upset for the reason I think. I am never upset for the reason I think. I am never upset for the reason I think. I am never upset for the reason I think. I am never upset for the reason I think. I am never upset for the reason I think. I am never upset for the reason I think. I am never upset for the reason I think. I am never upset for the reason I think. I listen to my heart and let myself be heard. I listen to my heart and let myself be heard. I listen to my heart and let myself be heard. I listen to my heart and let myself be heard and breathe. It was like a spiritual shower. We just took a shower together. I'm telling you. We on page 232 in the section called Being in the Course of Love. And I'm going to start out with the purpose of this course has been stated in many ways, and it's stated again here. The purpose of this course is to establish your identity. The importance of this purpose cannot be underestimated. Let us address the question of why it's important to establish your identity. You have been caught in a cycle of seeing the self as unimportant for a period of time, and then seeing the self as important for a period of time. Seeing the self as important seems at one time like a function of the ego, and then seeing yourself as important at another time looks like a function of the divine. You become confused between the personal self and a true self only because you have not as yet identified your true self. Once you have identified your true self, all such confusion will end. We have already stated that relationship is the only known in an unknowable world. We have already stated that the only being who is not beyond the limits of total knowing is yourself, with a capital S. Thus, it is in knowing the self that all is known. Interesting. It is in knowing the self that all is known. If you know yourself, then all is known. So, conversely, if all is not known, I do not know the self. So that answered where we stand. Right? I mean, based on what we just heard. All right. So whatever the problem is I think I have today about anything, if I want to use what the Course of Love is teaching me, then I need to attribute it to me not really knowing myself. Would you mind unplugging that for me? So if you really want to look at the situations that's happening in your life differently, rather than try to figure out whatever is going wrong in the world, it would go something like, I'm out of touch with who I really am.
Right.
That's why I think I have this relationship problem right now.
Yep.
I'm out of touch with who I really am. That's why I seem to have this financial problem right now. I'm out of touch with who I really am. That's why I'm unhappy and wearied right now. I'm out of touch with who I really am. That's why I don't know. That's why I don't know what I want to do with my life right now. I'm out of touch with who I really am. That's why I'm feeling guilty right now. So what we want to do is start to give ourselves new interpretations of what we think we're going through so that we can have a change. So it's not about what it looks like somebody did or did not do today. Everything that I feel any kind of unhappiness about in this moment is coming from me not knowing who I really am. And I've probably been trying out somebody else's version of what that is all day. Or what somebody else told me I should be doing to be happy today. Because from the moment we're born, we are given endless descriptions of what everything means and what it's supposed to be. When we get to the point that we can remember all of these descriptions on our own without anybody's help, no matter how insane it is, then we become an adult and a member of society. So a member of society is simply a person who can make all the erroneous interpretations of everything on their own now without any help from anybody else. I've learned what the world has taught me so well that now I can tell myself that my happiness is based on something outside of myself that I need to change in order for me to feel good. I can make up those things on my own now without any help from anyone. So let's breathe.
There you go. Go for it.
I am juicy and cute.
I am juicy and cute.
I am so juicy and cute.
I am so juicy and cute.
And fruit.
I deserve to be paid for having fun.
I deserve to be paid for having fun.
Say what?
Say
I
what?
deserve to be paid for having fun.
I deserve to be paid for having fun.
It's possible.
Yeah.
It's possible.
That's right.
It's possible. So when you're not being true to who you are, then your life is a struggle and you are confused.
Wait, one more time.
When you're not in touch with who you really are, and you're living according to what you were taught as opposed to what's true for you, then you are struggling now. You are unaware of your true self is what it's saying. You're confused. When you fully realize that the only way to know the self is through relationship, which used to be the only way I would make sure I would not know myself. I would know myself before the relationship. And then I would create a relationship that it looked like in order for me to be loved, I had to change. Which taught me that I wasn't okay as I am. So I used to use my relationships to move away from who I am.
Right.
Now I'm attempting to use my relationships to remind me of who I really am. So you don't have to get rid of the relationship. You just have to give it a new purpose.
Sweet.
Right? Your concerns about concentration on the self will end. So through a relationship, you actually would lose your concerns that come from concentrating on yourself all the time. Life is not a matter of self versus other. Life is a matter of relationship. Life is not a matter of human versus divine, but a matter of relationship between the human and the divine. Life is not a matter of one living thing versus another living thing, but life is of the relationship between all living things. That's beautiful. Okay, any questions or comments about anything that was said in that page? We covered that whole page as far as listening. Any observations?
I like the part where it says all such confusion will end.
Yeah,
That's good.
Yeah. It's so much easier to evaluate what to do when you know what you want and you know who you are.
Oh, yeah.
It's so much easier to say yes to this, no to that. I am going to go this way, I'm not going to go that way. I realized that when I was a person that it looked like things was just happening to me all the time was exactly the same time when I didn't know what I wanted. And the more I didn't know who I was or what I wanted, the more it looked like things just seemed to happen to me. The more I became really clear that what I really wanted was peace, and that everything that I thought I wanted in the world was just a means for me to get it, that the physical thing I was asking for was just a symbol of an experience that I was hoping for. So if I said I wanted a car, then I wanted the experience of transportation. You know, if I want a relationship, I wanted the experience of love and intimacy. If I had said I wanted money, I really wanted the experience of feeling abundant. So whatever I asked for, or whatever person asked for in the physical world, is just a symbol of an experience that they want to have. So if you really go to ask for the experience that you want to have, the experience will create the form that it can come to you through. So if I ask for the experience of abundance, then abundance will take the form that's easiest to get to me. But if I ask for the thing, that might not be the quickest way to get that experience.
You're like,
Yeah, it is. It's hard to remember.
Oh, so when we were reading the page, I was thinking about something that I really want in my life that I've come down to figure out. And I used to think that I had to depend on another person for it, and it turns out it just occurred to me that I actually don't. Like, I've been going through this phase where I want a child. And so I'm like, well, first I need a man. And it just occurred to me reading this that, am I off base?
Well, based on what we're talking about right now, it would be more important to ask, why do you want a child, and what is the experience that you think having a child will give you?
Right.
Okay, that would be moving along the lines of what we're studying, because it's until you can clearly answer that question, then there's no way you can evaluate the purpose of motherhood.
Right. Well, and that's what reading that, I was just commenting on reading that page, it made me realize that there is nothing in my way. I build these stories in my head.
Right. Yeah, you probably could have a child. Yeah. And there's probably, I would venture to say there are men out there that'll be willing to help you with it.
That's right.
I'm just guessing. But no.
My point is that the old way of thinking is so deep that like all of a sudden a light bulb goes off and you're like, oh wait,
yeah,
I could do it anyway. Like it didn't.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. But what we want to, and I want to add to that what we want to do is take what we're teaching and apply it to everything we're going through.
I know.
Okay, so you don't have to do it this moment, but I would invite you to really sit down and ask yourself, why do you want to have a child? And what is the experience that you think having a child would give you? Because it may be possible to have that experience without having a child. And that's what we need to understand is that a lot of times the experience that we want to have could be had now. Like for instance, if you felt like having a child would give you an experience, then you have to wait 9 months to find out to start, because it would be only at that point that it looked like having a child could bring you that experience. But anything real is always something you can have right now. And anything that's real, you can always have in the present, because it's only in the present that anything exists. So the minute I set up anything I want to be something that I can only have in the future, I know by definition what I've just come up with isn't real. literally it's not real, because like literally in this now moment, the child isn't born. So literally what I've come up with is something that's not real. So as you begin to wake up to the truth, you find yourself more and more and more and more always asking and focusing on and asking to recognize what you already have that you're not seeing, that would allow you to be happy right this moment. Like every one of us could really be celebrating right this moment.
Right.
Because we're safe, there are no bombs going off, nobody's fighting, nobody's shooting. There's no excuse in this moment for us not to really be chilled and cooled out with each other. There's no reason, literally. There's nothing happening but peace here. Why are we not jumping up and down with joy? It's very easy. We're either thinking about the past, or we're thinking about the future.
Right.
That's why we're sitting up here thinking about either something that happened in the past, today, even if it's just a few hours ago, or we are anticipating what is going to happen later, or we are analyzing the moment. We're just not being present.
Right.
Okay? And then the part of us that doesn't love us gives us a host of things that we need to do and a bunch of stuff we need to have, and under one condition, that we don't have it in order for us to be happy.
Right. Right.
And that's the trick that we play. Yeah, okay. So if I knew myself, then I would know that I'm whole and complete and there's nothing missing in me. And so there's really nothing outside of myself I really need in order to be happy, other than to change my mind about this moment. That's all I really need to do. Takes a lot of spiritual growth to do something that simple.
Yeah.
You have to study for years before you get to the point that you'll let yourself be. You have to have tons of all kind of stuff, all kind of breathing exercises, yoga, studying, going to 3 or 4. You got to make 3 or 4 trips to India. That's required. Because everybody know you can't be enlightened until you go to India at least one time. Personally, I found enlightenment in Lodo.
That was close to the same thing.
Yeah, basically the same thing. Yeah. I tend to try to keep it simple now.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? Any comments before I go further with this?
I kind of wanted for you to maybe elaborate on or see if I got
Okay.
this concept right. It's like when you were talking about if you equate abundance with money, like for me, like getting to know myself and like really listening to my heart, abundance to me is like a healthy family, a healthy community. And so, but that's my idea that I'm projecting. So I would just sit with spirit and say, I want, or I deserve abundance, or I deserve, or how do I make that come into?
You put it in the form of a question.
Okay.
You would go, what would it take for abundance to show up for me in ways beyond my wildest imagination through the Holy Spirit or through the divine? What would it take to show up in ways beyond my wildest imagination? What would it take for me to experience abundance in ways beyond? Because when you say it that way, you're taking your conditions off. And when you take your conditions off, then it can get to you faster.
Wow.
What's slowing everything down is we named it. And so we're looking, it's like a quick example is when a person says, when they think they want a person, and if they can get this person, then they're going to really be happy. And I'll often say, well, why don't you ask for happiness? And it's okay to even ask for happiness through a relationship. But when you decide who it's supposed to be, that may not be the quickest way that experience can get to you. You want it to get to you, and how could it come to you the wrong way if you're happy as a result of it? Because sometimes I hear people say, well, suppose it's not somebody that I really want. Well, then they wouldn't be the one. The requirement is that it would be somebody that you'd be experiencing joy with. So how can you be experiencing joy with the wrong? Oh, I'm happy with you, but you're the wrong person. It needs to be this person over here. So when you begin to wake up, you begin to put more emphasis on the content than on the form, because you know the form is going to follow the content.
Because that's the root of it. That's like the core of it.
That's the core of it. Like when you said you wanted to experience abundance and you thought it was a family and community and all that. So that's what I was saying earlier.
Yeah.
That's what you are asking for, to give you the experience of abundance.
Right.
And so what you want to do is ask for the abundance.
Okay.
Cut out the middleman.
Well, and you said the question in the form of beyond my wildest. Can you say it again?
Yeah. What would it take
Okay.
for abundance to show up in a peaceful way, in ways beyond my wildest imagination, through the divine or God or Holy Spirit, whichever the word would be? Because as you begin to wake up to who you really are, you find out more and more that you actually limit yourself by asking for the best you can think of. That actually that's a limitation. At first, it's like it really turns you on to go, oh my God, I can ask for anything that I really want. And that's a very important stage, because before then we felt like we were limited in what we could ask for. Then as you begin to wake up more to who you really are, you realize that your ideas aren't big enough. You know, the Course in Miracles definition of little, the Course in Miracles definition of little is anything I think of. And I thought that was perfect. That was like perfect. Yeah, it's like, what's little? Anything you think of. Your grandest thought is little in the eyes of the Creator. So wouldn't it be, especially since the Creator knows exactly who you could have that experience through, and you don't. See, and that's what you do when you begin to wake up, and that's just your real self with a capital S, not the self that you learned. See the difference? See the difference? What I'm saying? There's a you that you learned you are, but who you really are is behind the you that you learned you are. The real you is behind the description that you're living. That's who I want to get to know. I want to know who you are on the other side of my perception of you. Because that's who you really are. And then the Course in Miracles says, well, you can tell when you're really seeing that self. Because when you're really seeing a person correctly, it says you can scarcely refrain from falling down on your knees with tears of joy. Because what you're looking at is so beautiful, it just melts your heart. So when we're seeing each other correctly one day, hopefully, when we walk in the room, we just walk in the room and go, hey, I ain't never seen you all now. I'm so damn tired. Everybody be looking at each other that way. You just be, you know, it's like the best ecstasy trip you ever had. Now, they used to use ecstasy in therapy until it was outlawed back in the 80s. It was part of, it's called MDMA. And what it does is it takes fear away. Doesn't take your sense away. Doesn't take your sanity away. It takes a lot of your fear of joining and perceiving. Like if you could imagine looking at me right now, but you didn't have any fear of me. You didn't have any suspicion of me. You didn't have any distrust of me. Your heart was completely open to me right now. That don't mean you be crazy and you go jump out the window because you thought you could fly. You're more likely to do that when you are afraid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
But so what the Course in Miracles and all of these books are doing, they're trying to do exactly the same thing, but just through a change of your perception, which is the only thing that's happening anyway. So what would it be like? What would it be like if we were really in this room right now and we really and truly had no suspicion and no doubt, and we felt completely connected, and we felt completely one, and we felt completely safe with each other? What would come through us? What would we feel? What would we experience? That's what turns me on. It's those kind of thoughts that keep me doing this stuff every week. I've been fortunate enough to have most of all my physical fantasies expressed. That's the first thing I did when I found out I was free and innocent. I mean, what's the point of knowing that if you're not going to go for it?
Bingo.
Okay. Now, you know what I'm saying? What's the point of knowing you're free and you're innocent and you're unlimited unless you're going to try everything you ever thought you wanted to do, but in a peaceful, loving way? And so you get whatever you think you want. You know, you get the money, you get the car, you get the sex, you get the trips, you get the clothes, you get the place you want to live. You know, you get all the things. And what's so cool about letting yourself have the things you want is that then you'll go on to something else. But as long as you keep denying yourself, you'll be addicted and caught up in trying to have this experience that you think you haven't had yet, which is the way we're taught in the world. It's all about denying yourself. But that just keeps you obsessed. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can be real hungry and want a sandwich, but it's not until I eat the sandwich that I'm ready to go on to the next thing I got to do. So it's okay to want you. The Course in Miracles calls the things we want toys. And I think that's such an innocent way to put it.
I love it. Yeah.
You know, you want your toys. You know, when you were a kid, you had a little car. Now you want a big one. But it's a toy. It's still just only you can get in this one like your little child can get in their little car. But somehow or another, we think it's different. And then we judge our value based on the car, which is like crazy, right? And totally insane. But we do it. So you'll manifest a car quicker when there's nothing about your identity that's associated with it or your value. Because then you won't have any fear around it happening. Because you're not judging yourself by it. And if you're not judging yourself by it, it's okay for it to show up. Because you'll be okay if you have it and you'll be okay if you don't. So it shows up. You know from your own experience, the things that you obsess about the most are the things that elude you the most. That one thing you want more than anything else is usually the hardest thing to achieve, because you are now judging your value based on whether or not you have it, and that's a way of not having it. Wow. Because if you got it, it would further delude you into thinking that your value is outside yourself. So it really wouldn't be a favor to you for you to get the thing that you were so obsessed about that if you didn't get it, you wouldn't be happy. It's beautiful that the universe usually doesn't give us any of those things that we're obsessed about, to the point that if we don't have it, we won't be happy. Because it'll further make us believe our happiness is outside of ourselves.
Right.
But if you say, I really would like to have the experience of a beautiful home, and if I don't, I'm still going to feel great, you're much more likely to give yourself the experience of that than if you said, by this time in the age I am right now, I ought to have my own house. Well, see, the universe knows that's a bunch of crap. that nothing about your value has anything to do with whether or not you have a house by a certain age. So don't even expect the universe to help you with that. And so that's why you end up having to make sure you got good credit. Yeah, right. That's what the struggle. The struggle. Why? Because I forgot who I really am.
That's right.
That I am this unlimited spiritual being that creates through my consciousness, that was created by an unlimited creator, and that there's nothing missing in me, and I'm whole and I'm complete. I forgot that. So now I'm on a job I hate.
And listening to commercials that verify you by your credit score.
Absolutely. One of the best things that ever happened to me was when I made what appeared to be a bad investment and sabotaged myself financially, and my credit went down the drain, and I saw how much I was caught up in that stuff and how much I thought my value was in my credit rating, and I saw myself still be completely taken care of without anything missing a beat, even though I didn't have any of that you supposedly have to have in order to have whatever you needed. Okay, so I saw that was a bunch of crap. All I needed was my relationship with God. That's all. That's when I was really, I am sustained by the love of God. I am sustained by the love of God. I'm sustained by the love of God. I'm sustained by the love of God. So what looked like a tragedy ended up freeing me beyond anything that I've ever experienced in my life. Because now I know that I can be taken care of by the universe regardless of my credit. That's a very deep spiritual realization. That's right. Do not underestimate the power of that realization. Because I see people freak out about their credit, about their credit score. They go, "Oh my God, that's going to affect my credit score." It's like, okay, so it's your credit rating that's taking care of you, not your creator.
Wow.
So now you see what your idol is, and you see who your idol is, which explains why you're going through all the stuff you're going through. You have no faith in your source.
Exactly.
That's it.
Wow.
So what's happening now on a global level is we are being brought to that same realization. That's why it looks like everything in the financial system is crashing, so that somehow or another we'll begin to get some idea that just maybe we need to look at the whole thing differently and approach it from a different perspective. But most human beings don't become motivated until something affects them personally. As long as you're going through it, I'm not that involved. But when the $6 a gallon gas hits my pocketbook, now I'm interested in alternative energy sources. All of a sudden, I'm concerned about the environment. You know, when you got humpback whales 100 yards off the beach in California, something is up. You know, it's like the Mother Earth is saying, I'm trying to give y'all a chance to get y'all's act together. I will flip y'all off me just like a bunch of viruses. But y'all don't get it yet. Y'all still not getting it yet. Just like we do. The mosquito be on. Right? It's called an earthquake. Y'all don't get rid of y'all jokers. You aren't noticing that it's like going crazy around here? And no, I don't. I don't really see that because, you know, I just need to go to the hot springs. That's what I need to do. You know, I don't need to wake up to who I really am. You know, so if I knew who I really was, then I would know I am nature. I would know I am connected to everything. I would know that there is no separation between me and anything else. And in recognizing my oneness, there is nothing to be attacked because there is no other to be attacked. So attack comes from the idea of separation. There is nothing to attack if it's all one. So just coming from a oneness space is protective. Literally, it's practical. It actually helps you experience peace without attack.
Right.
You could be on a vibration level that you wouldn't even attract a mugger. That you wouldn't even attract somebody that would bother you when you go out. Because the more loving you are and the more you know who you are, you become invisible to people who are harmful and fearful and would attack. They don't even see you. They don't even notice you. You don't even exist to them. So you're effectively, whether you realize it or not, you are becoming invisible to what would hurt you just by waking up to who you really are. And every now and then, you know, you let a little stuff slip through because we haven't done the process completely yet. So your study of the truth is very practical. It literally protects you from harm. And it draws to you everything that you need because you're not separate from it.
Wow.
You know, wow. Isn't that deep? Yeah. Wow. So what's so cool is the more you wake up, you'll see that everything you want is already here, but you just didn't see it.
Yeah.
The love is already here. That relationship is already here. Everything you want is already. Suppose you walked out here tonight and you were asking for something based on the idea that you believed it existed. Then you would have a much greater possibility of experiencing it than if you went out of here tonight trying to get something based on the idea you don't have it. I have it. You have the most incredible relationships that you could ever imagine already, and you're just going out into your world to meet it. It's totally different from there is no relationship for me out there, and I'm finna go out here and hope I can get one.
So when you're coming from a position of lack, that's what you attract.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. If I'm coming from a position of lack, then I don't find what I'm looking for because my core belief is that it doesn't exist, and I'm looking for it because it doesn't exist. So of course it doesn't.
Right.
But if you were to go, I know that there's love inside of me, and I want to release every block that keeps me from recognizing it, then you're going to recognize the love inside of you because first of all, you're acknowledging that it's there. And so whatever you accept is true is what you experience, and what you're doing is just getting rid of everything that keeps you from seeing it. So the purpose of a relationship would be to have and what you would call an official reminder. Your friends and your lovers and your partners should serve the function of being the person that reminds you that you are whole and complete when you forget it and you're going off and being a little nutty because you've forgotten that you are whole. And they are helping you remember that you are loved.
Right.
Rather than telling you you deserve all the pain you're going through right now, and I'm going to remind you of a few things you forgot about. That's a different kind of relationship.
Right.
All right? So a holy relationship is a relationship where you are reminding each other of the truth, and an unholy relationship is a relationship where you're helping each other go unconscious in fear and guilt.
Yeah.
So relationships are neutral. What do you want to use it for? And what you want to use it for is to let yourself be known.
Wow.
So if you're in a relationship that's a real relationship, the other person is always inviting you to show up more than they are trying to use you to act out their fantasies.
Can you say that again?
Yeah, a real relationship is a relationship that you're trying to invite that who you really are to show up, rather than I got a script or a fantasy I want you to act out, and I'm upset with you because you're not doing it. Because then I don't know who you are. I'm really having a relationship with my fantasy, not with you. But most people are in relationships with their fantasies, and they're looking for people to act them out with. They're not really that interested in the person. That's why they don't want them to talk too much. Because if they talk, then you realize then your fantasy then your fantasy has a small possibility of really happening here. You know. And but what's cool is this. Any kind of person that you can think of exists, and you can never be alone. So that means that there are people out there who naturally do whatever your fantasy is, and they'd be doing it if they didn't know you. So therefore, there's no need to sacrifice your fantasy. You just have to stop deciding on who's supposed to fulfill it.
Right.
And at the same time, you can always be in a relationship with people who helping you remember who you are. That's like us right now. Now, what makes us single anybody in the room out? Well, that's based on who in the room reminds me the most of my past and everybody I've been with in the past, and who I think I could act my fantasy out with the most. And then I try to have a relationship with them. And that's why I would single somebody out. It would be whoever I thought could meet the need I think I have in this room. And I'll say something like, I'm attracted to you. I can feel you. Yeah, because you reminded me of everybody I've ever known before you more than anybody. And you're the one and you're the one that I believe I can reenact my past with. Try it one more time, but with you, it's going to turn out right. You are going to restore my wounded self-esteem.
Wow.
All the stuff I went through with that other person, I'm not going to go through with you. You're going to make me feel like nobody else has ever made me feel before. Doesn't that sound like fun? No! It sounds like a lot of doggone work. Yeah.
How would that work in a different?
Oh, how would you like to go, I want to know who I really am. I want to express who I really am. You want to know who you really are. You want to express who you really are. You're love. I'm love. How don't we use our relationship to get rid of every block that keeps us from loving each other, knowing that we are loved, having peace in our experience? Why don't we give our relationship a higher purpose that it's going to be a means for us to get in touch with God, to get in touch with our source, and experience joy beyond our wildest imagination. Because since there's no guilt in sin in that, we're able to enjoy the pleasures of the world at the same time, take everything we're doing in the world and use it as a way for us to wake up to who we really are. How could you lose in a relationship like that? Wow. If you choose to have a relationship with somebody, which you don't have to in order to wake up. They're optional. Yeah.
Why would you be comparing in the first place?
We've been taught that's how we're special, is by comparison.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so that's how I make myself special. Is it I'm better or less than? I'll be special by being less than. I'm the most pitiful person in the room, or I'll be like like the one person in the party that's over there in the corner like this. Okay, then what's gonna happen? Somebody's gonna come over and go, oh, what's wrong? So that's just a way to be special. So some people try to be special through being the most miserable thing you ever want to see. And then some people want their specialness through being what they think of as being superior to anything around them. But we all want to feel special. There's a part of all of us, that's why we're here. That's why we look different from each other. That's why it looks like we're unique. Look, y'all, we pulled off separation difference. Yeah. Okay, we don't have to concentrate on that anymore. If you look around the room, you will see we were very successful at being separate and looking different. Everybody, so can we all agree, mission accomplished? Yeah. Okay, it's no need now to work all day trying to be different. You are. Why are you not happy? Well, because you are not expressing your own uniqueness. You're different trying to be the same.
I don't know
myself.
myself.
I'm different trying to be like everybody else. Right. I'm not truly being different and using my uniqueness as a way for me to really express who I really am and experience joy. I'm trying to get the approval of them, whoever they are. And I notice they never show up at rent time. You know what I'm saying? All those thems that I'm worried about and the days that I'm concerned about. I notice that when I'm sad or when I need food or when my bills, none of them are there. But I used to always be all about what would they think? Who are they? So to get in touch with your power, let go of any addiction to they. They don't exist. And they don't care. Okay? So you are free and you're innocent. So let's acknowledge ourselves for that. Awesome. So let's do the love. I want you to feel good about blessing yourself. So we're going to take a minute. And there's a lesson from the Course in Miracles that I want to complete on. And it goes like this. I bless the world because I bless myself. I bless the world because I bless myself. Say what? I bless the world because I bless myself. Say what? I bless the world because I bless myself. Say what? I bless the world because I bless myself. Say what? I bless the world because I bless myself. I bless the world because I bless myself. I bless the world because I bless myself. Give it up, Lord. I love y'all. Love you.